Hi, it's Mark Janel from the International Game Summit in Mental Health. I am joined for a chat with Kope Hildeman from Finland and Neo Games, which I want to start kind of at the beginning for this. So Kope, what is Neo Games focus industry or what's it doing for the industry? Is it more for the development industry, or does it include gamers as well?
We don't include gamers. So we are the hub of the Finnish games industry in a way that we are operating in the professional side of the industry. So with the game developers, but also game education and game service providers and companies like that. And we are a membership-based organization. So all our members are legal entities. So we don't have individual members. And Neo Games was first established in 2003. So we have been following the development of the industry quite a while. And this is our 19th year of operation. So we have been following the rise of the Finnish games industry and the growth of the Finnish games industry also almost from the beginning. Not quite, but almost from the beginning.
Is it only Finland you guys capture this data on, or are you also doing some of the other Nordic countries, Norway, things like that?
So basically, we have an organization called Nordic Game Institute, which cover all the Nordic countries. So Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Iceland. And we are also a founding member, or Neo Games is a founding member in EGDF, which is European Games Developer Federation. And through EGDF, we cover almost the whole of Europe.
Good, cool. It sounds like you guys have been around for a long time, and it sounds like some of the things that I found out about you guys is really great. And this is why I wanted to have this conversation with you, is because of your code of conduct that Tarja showed me. Considering everything that's been going on in the industry over the past year, but it's just it keeps happening. Last year we had a Me Too movement. Christmas time we had a Me Too movement. Just it happened again a week ago. So when I saw your white paper, or however you would describe it, I thought this is awesome. This is a really great blueprint to use throughout the industry. It doesn't need to be, but of course you guys, would have to share it with the rest of the industry. But I think it's really good, and I'd like to jump in and talk about it. What was the genesis of this? Where did this come from? How long have you guys had it? What is it that you guys have had to do to change it, to keep up with the times? Where is it going to go for the future? And then we can talk about how much of an impact is it having? Are developers following it or not following it, et cetera?
So basically, the genesis of the code of conduct, I guess that we had to go back all the way to the Gamergate. So all the way to the 2013, 2014. And that was when we made our first statement as an industry about the harassment and that kind of topics. And the Gamergate was pretty different kind of case than Me Too. So that our first statement was pretty wide. So it was about also about the sexual harassment, but also about the gamer and game developer relationship, because there was that kind of activities also involved to the Gamergate. And when Me Too took place in the end of 2017. we saw that many industries in Finland, especially audiovisual industries and creative industries like us, so they made their own statements because obviously they thought that it was the way to fight against this kind of behavior. And we decided that, okay, as a games industry, we have to make a statement of our own to make it totally clear for everyone that the game industry has a zero tolerance for harassment and sexual harassment. And we made this first version of the code of conduct in early 2018. If I remember correctly, we published it in April, beginning of April 2018. And in the first version of the code of conduct, we had altogether like 5 game industry organizations as signatories of the code of conduct. So we had NeoGames, of course, we had Finnish Game Developers Association, we had Finnish Game Jam, and IGDA, and Women in Games, or We in Games as we know it today, joined the code of conduct later on, when it was established as a form of association. And I think that that was the genesis of the whole thing. But I think that the most crucial thing why we made it and how we made it is that there has always been quite a good cooperation between the Finnish games industry organizations, and it was relatively easy for us to get to the same table and figure out what kind of statement we would like to make and kind of phrase the statement and decide about the wording of the statement and that kind of stuff. And that was basically the first version of code of conduct we made in 2018.
Cool. You get. I gathered a little bit of information in regards to Finland, and talking to my dad, actually, he's the most knowledgeable person I know in this world. And I told him last night that we were going to be doing this, and he told me some facts about Finland that I wasn't really aware of. Finland and Canada, I'm in Toronto, are very close in how they run their countries, free medical health care, subsidized university, et cetera, et cetera. So how does, is that stuff correct that I've just said?
Yeah, it's correct. Yeah. We like to call it here in Finland, or here in the Nordic, we like to call it Nordic welfare state. But obviously, Canada is not Nordic country, so let's call it Nordic Canadian welfare state.
You know, every time I saw the word Nordic over the past like 10 years, I'm like, what are they talking about? For some reason, I always associated Nordic with Canada. I have no idea why, but I did. But I learned. So having the benefit of having a mental health care system in place for your country, how has that helped you? How has it helped you? How has it helped you adapt your code of conduct, and has it made it easier for you to get this implemented and accepted industry-wide? Because, having the, like us having, pre-medical health, I can call up my psychiatrist at any time, or my doctor, or my psychologist, or social worker, et cetera. So, and those of, all those people I just mentioned there are all separate people, even my pharmacist, and they're all part of my team working together to help me with my illness, bipolar type 2 that I mentioned to you. So what you guys are doing over there in regards to free medical health care, how has it been working so far? What sort of results, casual, maybe some peer-reviewed, are you getting back from the industry about the code of conduct?
Yeah, we have had a lot of discussion about the code of conduct inside the industry also. So when we first made the code of conduct in 2018, what we did is that we published in all the channels we have. So for instance, we have this Play Finland Facebook group. It's around, consists of like 7,000, 6,500 game industry professionals and also game industry hobbyists and students, and that's where we published it in 2018. And it was republished in many different channels after we published in Play Finland, and I guess that it kind of reached the games industry quite well. At least it seemed that there was like 3,000, 3,500 people had seen it. And the feedback we got from the code of conduct from Finnish companies, for instance, was only positive. So it was what we wanted to actually make also with the code of conduct. Also, although it's quite pragmatic in a Finnish way that we tell people what to do if you are a victim of sexual harassment, we wanted to kind of make it certain and make it clear for everyone that the sentiment in the industry is that there is no harassment in the games industry. So we wanted to make it as a common thing for all the industry to take care that there is no sexual harassment in the industry. And I was quite positively surprised about the fact that we didn't have any flame wars or anything like that going on about this topic. No, not in Play Finland. I don't know all the other channels if there was something in other channels, but not in Play Finland or that kind of venues. And it was, in that sense, it was a very positive feedback from the industry. And I think that being pragmatic again, we are a small country and we're around 5.5 million people. And our game industry has been growing very fast. And the fact is that we need all the hands on the deck. So that's the one of the reasons why we wanted to make sure that nobody feels threatened to come to the games industry, but everybody knows that we are doing our best to make it as safe place as possible, and also that we don't tolerate, as an industry, don't tolerate any form of sexual harassment.
So you've talked about sexual harassment, which is, of course, huge for our industry, and even over the past month, it exploded once again. We just can't have nice things anymore, is what it comes down to, I guess. Joking about that. So you've got you've got some other things also that you guys are doing. So you've got sexual harassment, you've got threats and bullying, intimidation and belittling, sexually charged comments, derogatory and marking speech. So it's not 100% just focused on sexual harassment. It's also dealing with the other aspects of being a developer, and whether things like this, which happen all the time. Developer changes something in Call of Duty Warzone, and it gets like 5,000 death threats and stuff like that. It's just,
yeah, that's
it's silly. But it's the norm now for our industry.
Mm.
So what, based upon the 5 things that I just mentioned right here, for harassment, which one are you seeing the most of? And the reason why I'm asking that is because when I started TIGS 5 years ago, it took me 2.5 years of planning or 3 years of planning to finally put it on, getting industry support, etc. And then the first event was just proofing, whether or not this is something needed. And then the second event last year was just awesome. Had every person that I wanted on it, and it turned out so great. It's not fun. So there's is sexual harassment the biggest thing you see, or is it just harassment in general? And is the code of conduct kind of a living document that you guys are changing as needed to address other aspects that are popping up?
Mm. So basically, the code of conduct is mostly about sexual harassment, although we mention other forms of the harassment also in the paper. And of course, it's ongoing process. So actually, this version we have at the moment is version 2 point something. So it's not the original, because we at some point we added some very pragmatic advices for people to the code of conduct. So how to deal with the situation when you have fallen as a victim of sexual harassment and so on. And when it comes to the other topics, so it's wide variety of bad behavior humans can do. So there is a lot of different kinds of, as you mentioned, belittling and harassment in general, and bullying in working places. Everybody who has been in school knows that there is many forms of bad behavior which can exist and which is existing also in the society, but also in the games industry. But with the code of conduct, we wanted to address this very kind of specific thing. We are, of course, doing things on the other fronts also. As I mentioned, we are at the moment 5 different associations, or actually 6 different associations, because Finnish Game Makers of Finland, which the trade union, joined us in our previous code of conduct. So we have all have our own roles when it comes to these different issues. So, for instance, Women in Games or We in Games is taking care of the diversity side and that kind of topics in the games industry. We keep each other informed about what is going on in that front. We are Finnish Game Developers Association is mostly dealing with the companies and reminding about companies, what is the law, what are the practices, how should you handle if this kind of things arise in your company, how you should handle these things, and reminding that, okay, there is law about equality in Finland, and there is different kind of laws and regulations which have to be followed, of course. Then there is of course, we are taking care of the political side and lobbying side and that kind of things to enhance things in the society level to some extent. And IGDA is taking care of the individuals working in the games industry and reminding them that this is something you should take into consideration. And we are doing, when it comes to the, for instance, which you mentioned, that there is always this kind of clash between gamers and game developers. That's something we are basically addressing in European level in EGDF. So we are pretty much covering not the whole field, but most of the field. And but when this kind of common statement or common actions are required, then we have possibility to cooperate in these different fields also. But so far, I wouldn't say that the sexual harassment is the biggest issue. All these are big issues, but at some point of time, we need to address certain issue specifically. And at some point of, but usually we try to take care of all these aspects. But when it comes to what we can do, actually, we have found out that the best way we can do these things is to inform people, remind them, people and companies, inform them, remind them, make it totally clear for everyone that we are an industry which behaves well. We don't want to create this kind of environment where people feel that they can do whatever they want. That's something we want to keep this industry as professional and clean and safe for everyone as possible. That's basically our main goal when it comes all to these big topics.
How was it before you guys made the? How was it before you folks made the code of conduct? How was it in the industry before you created the code of conduct? You know, were you having a lot of bad things going on? You know, because I don't remember really reading too much coming out of Finland, but I'm in North America, so I'm going to hear what's coming out of like the States, basically. So did you guys kind of have something like that going on over in Finland?
To be honest, no, we didn't have any kind of visible issues, but we wanted to make sure that if there is something like that coming up, we would be ready to solve those problems. So of course, when it comes to the industry or any industry, there is always this kind of dispute between people, and that kind of stuff is, of course, it exists because that's the way how humans work. But we didn't have any big issues back in the day. We had some rumors about some cases which had taken place previously. But the one thing with the games industry is that we are in many ways we are pretty different industry when we were like 15 or 20 years ago. So the industry has matured to the right direction even before we made the code of conduct and even before we made the statement. And that was one of the reasons why we were able to make the statement, because we only said out loud something which I think that many companies and many people in the industry had been contemplating themselves before. And that's the reason why there was not opposition to our code of conduct, or that's how I see it. I don't know if it was like that, but that's how I see it. So we said out loud what many of the industry people had been thinking before.
All right, cool. So you are getting feedback from it. That's good. And it is a live document, and that's awesome. I have not deep dived into it yet because I didn't want it, because I wanted to come in here fresh and have a conversation and really learn about this. Something that I saw, and I probably don't have it printed off, was resolution. You know, how do you resolve potential issues? And you had a list of all these different things that can be done. One of the things, the last thing, if everything else fails, would be to contact you yourself directly. And that's kind of interesting. Over the past couple of years, I've tried to address a lot of different aspects of the gaming industry. And one of the things that I really wanted to do was, sorry, address the industry. Oh, geez, I forgot. I'm sorry, I'm getting old. So, oh, oh yeah. So the last thing that you've got written down, as I said, is if all else fails, then you have your email address there and they can contact you. And so, as I was saying, over the past couple of years, as we've been doing TIGs, I've wondered aloud and had conversations with other people about how do we address resolution for things like this. And you've kind of got it set up in there, but it's not really scalable though. You know, that's tough for you guys to have like 10,000 people emailing you or calling you or something like that. Like how many are the numbers really high for people that, you know, as a last resort are reaching out to you, which I think is absolutely awesome. And this is something that I've advocated for a couple of years right now, is basically having some sort of, you know, third party in place that can work with someone who's been harassed in some way, and they are afraid to talk about it. They are afraid to, you know, all the stigma normally attached with, you know, going public and talking about something like this. So do you have many people that are going all the way down to the bottom that are coming back, are coming to you because you're the last thing that they're trying to do?
So basically, well, you know, what we published 2 weeks ago. So the contact person at the moment is Taina from Being Games, but all the task force members are also contact persons if somebody feels more comfortable to talk with me, for instance, that talk with some other task force member than Taina. It's basically, it's there basically because if people don't know what they should do, so what would be the correct way to go further, so then they can contact the task force members, because what we can do is to give advice. So that's what we can do, and if there's, of course, if there is something really sinister going on, we can tell how to deal with the authorities, how to make an announcement to the police, and go through all the processes you have to do, even if you are a victim of, for instance, harassment case. And that's something we are also discussing. Is there something else we could offer? But so far we haven't had. I haven't been discussing with Taina about that. If there has been somebody contacting her, I guess that there isn't too many of these cases. I haven't been contacted about these topics so far. So.
Interesting. If you're not being contacted, you know, one of the things about me running TIGs is that I don't know how well it's doing, because people won't talk to me about it. If it's doing well, they're good with that. They don't need to talk to me. If it's doing bad, maybe they'll talk to me. But it's, you know, as I said, it's kind of a conundrum that trying to get feedback for it and figure out where we should make those changes and things like that. Have you found anything yet that you want to change, but you haven't been able to change yet in your code of conduct?
Not so far, but we try to be open for all the wishes or advices where we get. But the fact is that there is also a legal side in these cases, and there is also liability. And if we give advice, for instance, we need to make sure that it's compliant with the Finnish law. And since we are an association, I think the hardest thing we can do as an association is to expel a member. So that's basically the only or the biggest gun we have. So is to expel a member. But otherwise, we just have to take care or take care of things in some different ways. So that's that. Yeah, we are in a quite a strange position because we like to think that we have some authority, but we don't have any direct kind of power over the companies, because companies are making their own decisions, and there is nothing we can do for companies or even individuals if they are not obeying, for instance, law or code of conduct. So there is nothing much we can do for it. And that's something that we are kind of point with law in Finnish law.
Yeah, and that's so I love what you guys have done with it, and it's not really rocket science, it's just, a lot of the stuff that you guys have in there is just like kind of common sense for most people, but some of the some people, just in the way they've been brought up, don't understand that. So are you guys being asked to come over to a studio and do some consulting of some sort, help you guys implement changes that might need to be in regards to harassment and things like that?
In those guys, we haven't been contacted about that by the studios. We have, of course, had discussion about the studios about these things. So not about that they should fix directly something, but about their practices. So we have been discussing with them. But if there is if there would be a case that once some studio would ask our help, we would probably contact them with Sexpo, which is a Finnish organization which is basically specialized to this kind of things. So we are not experts in sexual harassment in workplaces in any way, but there is organization which is, and we have been doing cooperation with Sexpo about this topic. We have a couple of seminars and we have a couple of meetings with Sexpo to make sure that our advices and our things we are doing are in line with those things they are doing, and how do they see what should be done. So that would be our way to handle that situation.
All right, cool. That's awesome. So we've been talking for almost 35 minutes now or so. So what I want to do is kind of end this here. But as I said in the email, is over the next 8 weeks, I want to challenge North American companies, first of all, to download your code of conduct and take a look at it and see whether or not it's something that could be implemented into Canada, United States, etc. Because we need something like this. It's just painfully obvious how things are, and it's not getting better. We're talking about it more, but it's still just not getting better because somebody turns over another rock and then there's a whole bunch of stuff there. So um, it's a weird time for the industry where we're having to go back 15, 20 years to analyze people's people's behavior and things like that. And that, that goes directly into another conversation about and this is something we're going to talk about at TIGS, is that like you can't cancel somebody forever. Like
Yes.
even murderers, get out after 19 years. So, or manslaughter is a couple of years or something like that. So I think that's something that we need to do. Have you guys started thinking about that? And if so, do you have something like that within the code of conduct right now? If you don't, are you going to be doing something like that?
Yeah, that's definitely a big question. In a way, I see that it's another side of the same coin, to be honest. So basically, if you feel entitled to harass something, bully something, or harass somebody, bully somebody, belittle somebody, or cancel somebody, think again, because you are not entitled to do so. So that's very simple. We are not entitled to harm other people in any way. And of course, if somebody has been doing, for instance, some of these things, at some point we have to find a way to let them back to the industry, so to speak. Yeah. So there is we can't define rest of somebody's lives, even if he or she has been doing something wrong. So that's not the way. And I think that this is very good thing for us all to remember, that we are not here to give sentences or judge people. We are here to developing. We're here to develop the industry, and we are doing it together.
Yeah. The court of public opinion, I don't know if you guys have that saying over there, is alive and doing well, unfortunately. All right, cool. I think this is a great part, or great chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love what you guys are doing. I'm going to deep dive into this now and try to figure out how North America, and we've got we deal with other companies around the world that have headquarters in other locations other than North America, and I want to be able to take your document and see whether or not it's going to be something that the world itself or different areas of the world can use. Hopefully that's okay with you.
Yeah, feel free to do so. So that's totally okay for us.
All right, that's cool. Excellent. All right, great. Kope, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I want to definitely reconnect with you again at TIGS, which is going to be October 6th and 7th. And we can continue on with this conversation. And as I was saying, I'll put the link for the code of conduct somewhere in here, and let people take a look at it themselves, and then give their opinions on it and things like that. Because there's a huge difference between Finland and the United States. No difference than this huge difference between Canada and the United States. Yeah. So excellent. Once again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And I look forward to talking to you in October at
Okay.
at
let's do
TIGS.
it. Okay.
All right, good. Thank you.
Have a great
Thank you.
day, Paul.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.